Lord of Life family, Pastor Matt here with this week's devotion from the prayer room. Today's devotion is titled, The Pillow and the Prophet. I just finished preaching a 3-week series on the prophet Jonah, and I want to share with you a connection that I made as I was reading Jonah and also reading the Gospel of Mark. A connection that shows me the greatness of Christ, and I hope that it blesses you. I've wondered often, why is Jesus asleep in the boat when there's a great windstorm on the sea? What's the deeper meaning of that? This is what Mark wrote. Soon a violent windstorm came up and the waves were breaking over the boat so that it was being swamped. But Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on the cushion. Sleeping in the boat, Jesus is making it clear and evident that one greater than Jonah is here. 800 years earlier, the prophet Jonah fell asleep in the boat during a great windstorm on the sea. Listen to this. Then the Lord hurled a great wind upon the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship was in danger of breaking apart. The sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. But Jonah had gone down to the lower part of the vessel, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The sailors with Jonah are frantic, and they wake Jonah up. How can you sleep? Get up, call upon your God. So they explore all of their options to calm the storm on the sea. And finally, they ditch their false gods. They cry out to the one true living God, and with Jonah's permission, they throw Jonah overboard, and God calms the sea. He quiets the storm. Jesus' disciples, they're frantic, and they wake Jesus up, and they say, "Don't you care if we drowned?" Like the sailors, they cry out to God in prayer, and they may not know yet that Jesus is God, but they're praying to him, asking God for help. And this is what happens. Jesus got up and rebuked the wind and the sea. "Silence," he commanded. "Be still." And the wind died down, and it was perfectly calm. God calmed the storm for the sailors who cried out to him, and Jesus calmed the storm for the disciples who cried out to him. And what does that make Jesus? That makes him God, the second person of the Holy Trinity, one greater than Jonah. So the pillow and the prophet? No. The pillow and the Prince of Peace. The disciples were struck with fear, and they said, "Who is this man? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Does life feel stormy for you right now? I want you to know that Jesus, the Prince of Peace, he's not asleep. He's alert, active, and he is ready to help you. I found this in the prayer room, and I want to show it to you. Help is a prayer away. And how true is that? The sailors cried out with a prayer. The disciples cried out to God, and Jesus is there for us. He wants to hear our prayer, and he wants to help us in our time of need. And thanks be to God, he has already calmed the storm inside of us through his suffering, death, and resurrection. The Prince of Peace laid down his life to give us lasting peace, clearing our conscience, taking away our shame and our guilt. And now we are free to love God, free from the fear of punishment, and we know that there is peace and calm between us and God. So I pray that you will know that God loves you, and he gives you this promise: "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest for your soul." Have a great week.